This is Jablam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojernoff and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojernoff. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I'm with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me on Twitter at Zwambag, ZWAMBAG. How's it going, everybody? Peter, what is up?
I'm feeling already sad.
Why?
It feels like we might have one of the shortest episodes we've had in ages.
Well, we'll see about that. We're trying to keep it down. But it probably won't happen.
All right. All right, before we get to trending now, what do we have this episode? We're going to round up the playoff series, what's going on so far. We also have a compare. Paul's Letang versus my John Carlson. And then we've got a bit of World Championships coming up. And, of course, Jablam Junior Hockey Playoff Update. All right, trending now. Are NHL players not going to the 2018 Olympics? Sounds odd.
Yeah.
Do you actually think this is a good possibility?
No, I don't think so. They did the exact same thing for the 2014 Olympics, that they weren't going to go. No, the 2010 Olympics, that they weren't going to go. And they figured it out. And all the players said they're going no matter what, if they're allowed to go or not. Like, remember when Ovechkin went Sochi?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going.
But that's the thing about this one. Who's going to China? Who really wants to go there?
Everybody wants to play for their team. It doesn't matter. The only factor that could come into play is the World Cup of Hockey. If this tournament goes well in September,
they won't need to go.
They won't need to go.
Really?
And it could turn it into an amateur tournament again.
Yeah, that'll be weird. Interesting.
But you just won't watch. We just won't watch it as closely because there's the World Cup of Hockey. Everybody will get excited for the World Cup of Hockey.
It'll be kind of like a Spengler Cup, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's basically because insurance costs won't be covered for NHL players, right? Rene Fassel, the International Hockey Federation president, says that he seems very likely that NHL players won't be going. He, quote, "It's always difficult to get the Olympics, like wherever it's going. The games, and now with some problems on our side, 50-50 is very positive. I would be more 60% that they aren't coming." You know what's really good about this? That's what Renee said. But then they ask Bettman, and he gives you the usual, there are real costs going, against us, including insurance, transportation, losing part of our season, etc. He goes on about this. But at the end, what I like the most, he says, "I'm not sure that there would be a lot of appetite for us, on top of that, to pay for the privilege. We don't make money going to the Olympics." That's the main part.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
And in the end, the professional NHL players, they don't want to be thrown into this. They don't want people asking them. But at the same time, I think that's very important to them, as well as the league. League's going to could lose money if big name players get injured too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the fact that it's in China, so the main event games will be ridiculously early in the morning. Yeah. And that's where they lose the Big Ten money because nobody is going to be up watching it, like if it was the Vancouver Olympics.
Exactly.
Where everything was prime time. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Same thing. It's there. It's not in our time zone. And who in the NHL, out of the players, out of management, the league, cares that much about China? So, do you think they believe in the future they can develop the game in China?
No, I think they'll be wanting to go so they don't lose 2022, wherever it's going to be. Like
That would be-
it's eventually going to come back to their countries, and once they lose out, it's going to be a couple years, couple Olympics before they are allowed back in, right? Like,
Yep.
if you lose one Olympics, the next Olympics you're going to have to fight for it.
Or the Olympics doesn't make enough money because they don't have the NHL.
Yeah,
That could be a possibility as well.
yeah.
All right. Moving on. Dave Andreychuk says Steven Stamkos remains the face of the franchise. You know, despite Kucherov's performance. That was today. We're recording on Wednesday night. On Sportsnet Hockey Central on Wednesday, Dave also said, I still believe that Yzerman is trying whatever he can do to sign Steven. And I believe it will happen. How much of this, him saying this, is trying to keep Stamkos, or him actually telling the truth? What do you think the percentage is, Paul?
I think it's very low percent, because what is Dave Andrews? Is he part of the Tampa organization? No.
I believe he is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's Vice President of Corporate and Community Affairs.
Yes, that's right. So,
I don't think so. I think he's got to say it. What is he going to say? Stamkos is no longer the face of our franchise? Oh, but we're still trying to negotiate with him? Like, even if they weren't even negotiating, that's just not a good negotiating tactic to say we're out. Like, that doesn't happen. You don't do that to your captain. You don't do that to a guy that's a free agent this summer. You just don't he has to say that. He has to say that he's still the face of the franchise. It's not hurting Kucherov any saying he's not the face of the franchise, which is also helping the Tampa Bay stock re-signing Kucherov by saying, you're not the face of the franchise. You shouldn't be paid like the face of the franchise.
But he's Mr. MVP right now. That's kind of...
Yeah, but it's not hurting him. It's not. It might be hitting his ego, but
it's also going to hurt his cap hit on his next contract, right? Because he's an RFA.
Yeah.
So he also says Yzerman has the cap to spend to, and he's going to try to get everybody under that.
We talked about this already. It's going to be really hard for him to do that. Like, I don't think he can keep everybody.
Yeah, I think it's impossible.
Yeah, because Killorn's an RFA. He's got a lot of RFAs to sign for next year.
And it's not just this coming season. It's also next year.
Yeah.
Everybody's a free agent. All their main guys. It goes from Benny Bishop to Victor Hedman to Johnson, Palat, Kucherov, and as well Stamkos. And there's other guys that I haven't mentioned.
Drouin.
Maybe Killorn.
Drouin is up. Killorn's up this year.
There you go. And this is all within this summer and next summer.
Yeah.
The main core.
He's going to mess up his team if he re-signs Stamkos to a large contract.
Yeah.
Hopefully he plans that far ahead, which he likely will. But
like the rumors are, like the Leafs have offered $10 million per season, so $70 million for 7 years. I don't think the Lightning can do that.
No.
Not possible.
Unless they buy out like Garrison or Carl or Strawman or
Callahan.
They're spending a lot on defense.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's had a difficult time being a GM. Like, think back at all the stuff that's gone on, his trade requests, and now this Stamkos thing. Like,
but you know what? It's good problems, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say
he's got much better problems than a lot of the other GMs out there.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, Justin Schultz probably going to play tonight. How do you feel about that, Paul?
Not having Letang definitely hurts.
All right. Moving on Obviously, Letang missing the one game, suspension. Just Schultz. What do you expect out of his game? And, I don't know, out of the game tonight as well.
Well, they're going to play the same style of game with Letang or without Letang.
Yeah.
I don't think Schultz is that big of a hindrance. Like, he has improved since coming from Edmonton.
Yeah, you said he was playing really well down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't... It definitely hurts because he's not Letang, but I don't think they're expecting him to fill Letang's shoes.
Obviously.
Like, they don't have anybody to do that, so they just won't have that. They'll have like Malkin carry the puck up on the power play and quarterback the power play, and like Schultz can do it, and Pouliot can do it. But Pouliot looked... There was some shifts last game that he just didn't look like Derek Pouliot from the year before.
This Penguin defense could really get exposed tonight.
Yeah.
Letang, what were you saying? He's averaging like 35 minutes a game the last few games?
The last game he had 35 minutes in the regulation game. It's the most he's ever had.
And the game before that, they were in overtime or something. And he also had...
Yeah. So there's 30 to 32 minutes probably to hand out to elsewhere, and I don't think Schultz can play that kind of minutes, but they'll do it by committee, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. The great thing is that we have the depth to bring in a guy like Justin Schultz and Derek Pouliot because Mata's out.
That's
like
what I was thinking.
That
Mata
depth
is also a 25-minute guy.
Yeah.
So they're missing their 1 and 2, basically. And now Pouliot and Schultz have to eat up most of those minutes and then share the rest with the other 4.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting... Trevor Daley is going to step up if...
He's got to.
He's got to, yeah.
He's going to be playing at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll see how Trevor Daley does and the rest of the defense. So Brian Burke wants his Flames to be a black and blue team. Have I heard this before? Black and blue team? Where was he? Where was he before?
The Maple Leafs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
A direct quote from 2012, the GM of the Maple Leafs, Brian Burke. We require, as a team, proper levels of pugnacity, testosterone, truculence, and belligerence. That's how our teams play. So he wants the same team that didn't accomplish anything on the Leafs.
Yep.
A new talented Calgary Flames, young, soft players like this with skill.
Yeah.
To play the same style that doesn't work in the new NHL. I don't know what he's trying to go here. It's not the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know. Brian Burke is not my favorite book of GMs, that's for sure.
I like his boldness. I actually do like Brian Burke when he comes out and says all the crazy
shenanigans.
Yeah, but sometimes it's way off base. It's hilarious.
And looking at the draft, where do they draft? 6, I believe? They got the 6th spot?
They're going to draft Nylander?
No, there's no way. If he wants big bruisers, maybe a Logan Brown. But he doesn't play big bruisey hockey. He's a big kid, but he doesn't play that rough and tough style. Like he's 6'6", 220, Logan Brown already. Yeah. So he may thicken out and get more muscular, but I don't think he plays a hard enough game for that. And like Pierre-Luc Dubois is a big kid, but he's not tough either. So I don't know. I don't understand where he's going with that. It just doesn't make any sense. And Brian Burke's kind of an idiot. So
tell us how you really feel, Paul.
Yeah, I just don't like him. Maybe they're changing their jerseys, and he's going to go black and blue Calgary Flames.
Oh, my God.
Is that what he means? No?
The blue flame.
The blue flame.
It's stronger than the red.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to a funny topic. Let's talk about him. Tony X. So Lucidity. Everybody loves him on Twitter. He's got, like, what? over 60,000 followers, and within like 3 weeks on Twitter, this guy's blown up.
Yeah.
He's pretty funny though. I'm very jealous. I still like way at the bottom with like no followers. This guy comes out of nowhere from St. Louis. What is hockey? What is going on?
Yeah.
And everybody loves him.
Yeah. He's blown up. He's gone to games now. Like St. Louis has.
He's almost like their Lucky Charm too now. Like that's his first NHL game ever.
Yeah.
And they destroy the Stars.
Yeah, and see how close he was?
He was right against the ice.
He thought he needed a seatbelt. He was so close. That's what one of his tweets was. He's super creative. He's really funny. He hit it at the right time, and the hockey Twitter world has blown up and loves this guy. So
yeah, there's a few ones that I really like. One of the first ones at the beginning, and of course he's watching Blackhawks versus Blues.
Yeah,
what a great series.
Yeah, what
classic.
A game to get into. Ridiculous.
And then he says the NFL has like 5 concussions per season. I see 5 concussions per second.
Yeah. You know what my favorite tweet was from him throughout the whole thing? When the St. Louis offered him tickets to come watch Game 3.
Yeah.
I'm there. Clap, clap, clap. Should I bring a jacket? Crying face. I'm so serious. It is a room full of ice. He legitimately thought he needed a jacket.
It's true.
And later, one of his tweets, he was like, "You don't need a jacket."
Yeah.
And showed him sitting in the stands, so it was pretty funny.
It is true. If you're in a barn, old school barn, watching junior hockey or something, you're probably going to need a big sweater, a puffy jacket, the toque on. Us Canadians, we're used to that.
Huddle with whoever you go to the hockey game with.
Yeah.
Keep the body heat
Everybody's piled in one section.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Oh, the arena I used to play at, they used to have little tiny like space heaters that were like above your head.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But only like 3 would work. They had like 7 down the whole grandstand, and only 3 would work. So that's where all the parents and moms and brothers and stuff watch the games. It's pretty funny because it was like that's not a good spot to sit to watch a hockey game. Like
it's
it'd be
in
like
far corner.
Yeah, it'd be like the very last one would work, and everybody would be sitting down there, and you're like, that can't be enjoyable to watch. But the parents do it. That's what's impressive. That parents still come out and watch their kids play in crazy conditions. So, but this guy's awesome. I wonder how quickly it'll go away. Mm-hmm. Like how much of a fad it'll be.
I think it's this playoff.
Yeah.
And then we're all going to forget about him. It's going to be the draft and then free agency. He's not going to be into that stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Beginning of the season, he might come back, but it won't be a big thing.
It won't be, because it's no longer new. It's no longer he's introduced to the game.
So, get into your 5 seconds of fame, Tony. Love it.
There were people asking him if he was going to do autographs, and he's like, "No, I don't want to depreciate whatever I'm signing." So he didn't offer any signatures to anybody. He took a couple of pictures and stuff, but yeah. So he's probably old news by next week or a month. But good on him. Good on him for blowing up.
All right. Let's get into the episode. First off, we're going to go into playoff series roundup. Dallas Stars and Blues. How do you like it so far? Are you kind of surprised how well the Blues are playing? Or do you expect that? Especially, what was it, 5-1 win last night?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm actually, in my opinion...
Oh, it was
really
6-1. It was 6-1.
There you go.
Jeez.
I had a feeling it was maybe one more. I was really busy at work last night, so I barely saw most of it. I really wanted to see the Islanders and Tampa, and then I lost that feed. I got a bit of the other games.
I went to bed.
Good for you, Paul. But Backus, he has really stepped up. People know I love St. Louis. I love their two-way game. and I was on the fence of them against the Hawks in the first round. And I know if they could beat them, they could go far. They have a good team. They have a good regular season team, and they're a hard-working, fairly physical team that could do well in the playoffs. But scoring has always, in my opinion, been their biggest issue. Backes has really stood up and taken that to the next level. I believe he has to be leading the league in game winners, 2 of them in overtime. He's clutch right now.
Yeah.
He, in my opinion, is their best player. He's much better than Tarasenko in these playoffs.
Yeah, and he's rattling the cage of Jamie Benn. Like, just getting him off his game. Like, this is where I thought Dallas would just try to outscore, and they haven't been able to score on Elliott. Like, Elliott's playing unreal right now. Like, Dallas's motto of just outscore the opponent, and we'll win 6-5 games. Well, they lost 6-1. They're not scoring. I think they're really missing Tyler Seguin. That's a big injury.
They're averaging 2 goals a game in this series, and that's very low for a Dallas Stars team.
Yeah.
So they're playing game 4 on tomorrow, on the Thursday. If people are listening to this, it's probably the same day. What do the Dallas Stars need to do to win this game?
Score. They need to find a way to rattle Brian Elliott's cage. They gotta get.
Haven't they already done that? The shots to the mask. I think Don Cherry said on Coach's Corner as well. Even the Hawks were shooting at Elliott's head.
Yeah,
I think he's been hit with a puck at least 5 times in his mask, and he's needed a little break on a few times. He's also the one that had the what's it called? The thing in the eye.
The stick in the eye? Oh, the eye, the contact lens.
The contact lens.
Oh, jeez.
I couldn't figure it out.
That was awkward silence. Holy smokes. I'm not editing that out, by the way. That's staying in. Just keeping it in. Writing it down.
So, yeah, the contact lens came out, and the trainer had to go and help him with it. I think people thought it was worse, but it was just the contact lens.
Yeah. I think Roussel's got to run him. That's what happens in playoffs. Like, it's sad to say that's how you get a goalie off their game, and that's how you get back into a series. But you got to get in that blue paint. You got to make his job hard.
So Roussel's been doing that. Would you say Backes has been doing that as well? Being physical, rattling, getting Jamie Benn off his game?
Yeah.
So how come he has no penalties in this playoff so far?
Because he's doing it the right way. He's staying on that edge. He's not going over. And that's what guys like Roussel and guys like Tom Wilson, they all play just past the edge. They don't have that veteran mindset of, it's going to hurt if I sit in that box. It's going to hurt my team.
Yeah, Chris Letang should think about that as well.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the other Western Conference matchup. The San Jose Sharks lose to the Preds. The Preds scored 4 goals. They can score, Paul.
Yeah.
It's 2-1.
Call in James Reimer.
I don't think it's Jones's fault, is it?
I don't think so.
No.
I saw a couple tweets last night that was like, when do the Sharks turn to Reimer? Reimer can win big games. It's like, what big games has he won?
That's Leaf fans talking, though. That's Reimer fans.
I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was a Leaf fan, though.
Really?
But still, like, no. Jones got you there. Ride with Jones. Maybe if he gets blown out again in Game 4 and it's his fault, then maybe you turn to Reimer, because that's why you went and got Reimer for a solid backup. But not when you're up 2-1. Like, don't press the panic button. They don't need to panic yet.
Roman Yoshi, he's like what? Leading the league in assists in the playoffs? He's got like 17 million assists? He's doing really well.
That's a lot of assists.
Yeah, he's way up there. I don't know, it's like 8. He's really underrated. He is would you say he's a top 5 defenseman now in the NHL?
I would put him in like maybe just like 6, 7, 8 in there.
He's ahead of Weber, is he not?
Oh yeah. Weber's definitely slowed down.
Yeah, he's become more of that physical defenseman with the hard shot.
Yeah.
Whereas Yoshi, Mario's dinosaur? Anyways, Yoshi is a very, two-way defenseman, but he's good at everything. He can play solid defense, he can bring out the puck, and he's very good offensively. You know what everybody likes to talk about? Point shots. Just getting the puck through. And they showed that in this series. The Predators have done that. Getting the puck through from the point, no matter how. Weber had a booming shot, and he scored last game. Sorry, are my levels too high there for you, Paul?
No.
All right.
No.
Okay. But he also had a wrister towards the net in the previous game. So he scored there as well, or it was deflected. I'm not sure. But point shots.
Yeah.
This is the main way to score in the playoffs.
Yeah, and get guys in front of the net and put it through traffic. It's the hardest puck to stop, I think.
All you have to do is get it by that first blocker. You get it by him, anything can happen. And usually it does.
Yeah.
So I think the Predators can still win a few games if they continue this way. You don't think the Predators have at least one more win out of them? Or you think the series done? I know we both had it in 5 games, right?
Yeah. I am still sticking with that. I think San Jose's going to bounce back, and I think they'll be fine. They're a great road team, so it's surprising to see that 4-1 loss, but I think they're going to come back strong.
All right. Let's go to Brooklyn. They're going to be playing the next game, Game 4, Tampa at the Islanders. And the Lightning come back. They're making the Islanders feel how the Florida Panthers felt in the first round. Is it Kucherov that tied the game? And then he got the winner as well?
Yeah, did he get the winner? I know Druin set up the tying game.
Brian Boyle in overtime. Sorry. Kucherov tied the game with like 35 seconds left.
Beautiful pass by Druin.
Druin is so underrated.
Oh, man. When he came back from that huge hit, he got smoked, by the way. He came back a period and a half later. And everybody was saying his concussion. I don't even think he went to the quiet room. Like, he probably did because he had to for precaution, but I don't think it was that him being fuzzy. I think he broke his nose or...
Yeah, I think it was something else. Because when he skated off the ice to go into the quiet room, he looked fine.
He went on his own.
Yeah.
You wouldn't send a guy on his own.
Yeah.
He would have went with a trainer. So I think he came back and he had Kleenex in his nose and he had a couple cuts on his nose. So I think he just had a broken nose or... Probably come out later that he had a broken nose. He
pulled a Paul Kariya though.
Yeah.
Came back. Game player. Big passes. He's a good player.
Yeah.
I look forward to his entire career.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
That's how heroes in the playoffs get made. Get hurt. You're out. Your team comes back, is on the comeback. You help them make the comeback. So that he's going to be a great player.
If it wasn't for him, this series could have gone 6-7 games. But now that they won that game, they can finish him in 5. Tampa can finish the Islanders in 5. Just like what we thought, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what our games were. Yeah.
We'll see. Islanders, still in my opinion, the hardest working team in this playoff. They don't have as much talent as the other teams, but boy, they've got these kids flying.
Yeah.
Grice is playing well, too, between the pipes. All right. And last but not least, the Caps and Penguins. They're playing Wednesday nights, right before we're recording this before the game. Paul, what's going to be the final score?
4-2 Penguins.
4-2 Penguins
Yep.
without Letang and Olimata on the points.
Yep.
Who's going to be on the point on the power play, number 1, without Letang?
Trevor Daley.
Trevor Daly's filling in that spot.
Yep, and then it'll be like Malkin, Hornqvist at the middle of the ice, Kessel on the left side, Crosby on the right side, in the front door. Boom. There's your power play. He can carry it up. He can power play a quarterback or quarterback a power play. So yeah.
How many points does Crosby have in this series?
I don't know. Not very many.
Like 1 assist.
And we're up 2-1 in the series.
And Ovechkin,
he's
I
ready.
think, had like nothing until that third period.
Yeah. So
it's everybody. It's a team game.
Yeah.
You cannot pay these guys $10 million or more, in my opinion. It's a team game.
When it comes down to the playoffs, yes, you need depth scoring. Like, coaches figure out how to shut down a player or a line. You need lines that can score.
Fourth lines are important almost as much as the first line.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's going to be a good series. Let's get into our compare. We're comparing Chris Letang versus John Carlson. Of course, we usually give 1 minute for the first person and the second person to say what they have to say about that player. Paul?
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yep, I went first last time, so
all right.
I want the rebuttal. I want to rip apart what you're going to say about Carlson.
All right. Here we go.
And go.
Carlson has more points. He's leading the playoffs in goals by defensemen with 3. He's not a goon like Letang, right? Letang's a big goon. What does he have, like 10 penalties in the playoffs? And that's not including the big one where he got a suspension. He only got 2 minutes. Paul, I'd like to ask you, after we finish this, do you not think Letang should have got suspension when he hit Stahlberg with a stick in the face? I can bet you 100% if he did that to Rick Nash or a Sidney Crosby type player, he would have got at least 1 game. All right, I like Carlson. He is younger, so he's going to have a lot more years in his prime still. And I'd rather have a Carlson on my team because he makes almost half the amount of salary of Chris Letang. Paul?
That's your time. All right, Chris Letang. I'm not just going on playoffs here. This guy carried the Penguins to the playoffs. He dominated. He had 74 points to Carlson's 48 points. Boom. Can I just stop right there? 57.
No, you can't.
57
because
assists.
Carlson had how many games? Continue.
65 games.
No, 56.
Oh, it says 65 here. So
you wrote it wrong.
Boom. Okay. Chris Letang carries the power play. When he's going, the power play is going. How many power play points does he have?
I don't know. Again, Carlson missed more than a third of the season. Go ahead.
There you go. Chris Letang is known to be injury prone. He played more games than Carlson, so what does that give Carlson? Is he more injury prone? I believe so. Chris Letang is not a goon. He's not a goon. Yeah, he takes penalties.
He plays on the edge, no?
Plays on the edge.
Are you done?
I'm done. That's my
so
minute.
do you think Letang should have not gotten a suspension when he hit Stahlberg in the head with a stick?
When was that?
Playoffs, first round versus the Rangers, one-hander, or two-hander actually.
No, that wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional. No. There should be nothing to do with intentional or unintentional when you do a vicious hit like that.
No, a penalty? By all means, I see a penalty because you need to keep control of your stick. Suspension? No. There's no malicious intent there, so you don't need a suspension.
I think
just because his stick got carried away and out of hand, he's getting a suspension for it. I don't think so.
Was the stick a person?
No.
He hit a player very hard in the head. It wasn't a one-hander. It wasn't a off a stick deflection. It was straight to the head.
No, I don't think so.
I think you need to see it again. I think I have a clip of that here, Paul.
The suspension, this suspension against Zucker or against Johansson,
Yep.
I'm all right with. He did. It was a little bit of a dirty hit. One game, I'm fine. I'm happy with.
Yep.
I agree. He should be sitting down for a game. If it was any more, it would be like, really? That's a little drastic. But one, I'm all right with.
So if your team was close to the cap, would you rather have Letang at 7.3 than Carlson at $4 million?
No.
Won't be able to get that other player for like $3-4 million to fill out your roster. No? Rather
No.
have Letang.
Yep.
All right. There you go. If you don't like what we had to say, or if you did, you like what Paul had to say, or you like what I had to say, tweet us. At Jablam Hockey. And again, I'm at Russian98. And Paul, you're at?
Swambag, ZWAMBAG.
All right. Junior hockey playoff roundup or review. What do you have for us, Paul, there? How is it going?
We're into the finals.
Nice.
It's coming down to 6 teams. We started at 60. We're down to 6. In the Western Hockey League, the Brandon Wheat Kings, led by Jace Howerluck, is going up against Seattle Thunderbirds, have only lost 1 game in the playoffs. They swept the first round, they lost a game in the second round, and they swept the third round. They're going up against the Wheat Kings. It's going to be an interesting battle. I think the Wheat Kings will pull it off and go to the Mem Cup. Do you remember way back in the day? I'm going to pull that clip and play it now. I was correct. Hopefully. Hopefully.
I didn't get that one. Go ahead. What
In the
else do you have?
OHL, the Niagara Ice Dogs are they are playing unbelievable right now. They swept the Kingston Frontenacs, who were the favorite in the OHL. They're going up against another dominant team, the London Knights. Their first line in the London Knights is unstoppable.
Marner.
I don't know how they're... Marner, Red Tilson Award,
Yep.
MVP of the CHL. Well,
That's right.
Well done, Marner. Question, do you want him in the NHL next year?
You know what? I'm all for taking their time. Make this
Good answer.
the new Detroit Red Wings.
Good answer.
So I don't know if these guys with egos, like of a Matthews, a Marner, and maybe even Nylander and some of these other guys, want to even stay in the Marlies.
I think it'll knock his ego down. He's riding high, and I think he needs a little bit of adversity. These kids come out of the OHL at 2.5 points per game pace, and they just think they can do it in the NHL. They've had no adversity. They've always made every single team they've ever played on. Hit him down a peg. It's not going to ruin his career. Look at what happened to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He came in way too early. He was a tiny guy like Marner. They're about the same build, and he got hurt right away. Now he might not ever be the career player that they were hoping him to be because he has so many injuries. Let this kid develop. Give him a huge list from Babcock to go back to the Knights. Develop his game. Let him dominate again. Let him be a leader. Let him learn the defensive side of the game. Let him get bigger. Give him a break.
Same here. When people look at younger players in Europe, they're like, "Oh, these guys don't have any points." No, it's a totally different game over there.
Yeah.
I think Ovechkin had 18 goals the year before he came to the NHL. It's a different game there, and it's harder. And they're also playing against a lot older players at that age, 16, 17, and 18.
Yeah.
So it's much harder to score. Matthews probably doesn't even have that many points if you look at it, but he will be a big game player, and I'd be surprised if he's not playing every single game next season.
Yeah.
So
Back to the OHL finals. Don't
Yep.
just look at the scoring. These two have great goalies. Alex Nedeljkovic for Niagara and Tyler Parsons from London Knights is draft eligible, so his stock is going up. So
Yes,
it'll be
Parsons?
Yeah, Tyler Parsons, yeah. And then in the Q, Ruin Naranda, best team in the CHL throughout the whole entire year, led by Timo Meyer, San Jose pick, and Francis Perrant, Ottawa pick. Perrant is playing unreal right now. Shawinigan plays as a team. It's going to be an interesting tilt as well. And if you want to catch some of these games, Sportsnet is finally showing CHL hockey again, playoff hockey. Friday night, Brandon and Seattle Game 1. Sunday night, Ruin and Shawinigan Game 3. And Wednesday night, London and Niagara Game 4. All on Sportsnet 360.
Nice.
I will be making sure I tune into some of those games. It'll be worthwhile.
Which one for sure?
London Niagara for sure, because it could be a game deciding. And
you don't live that far from there either.
Yeah. And Friday, I will be watching the Brandon and Seattle game. It's going to be a good game. Seattle's a real good team, and so is Brandon. So it's going to be a good tilt.
You know what I noticed the difference now? In the World Championships, like 10 years ago and before, weren't veterans going to the World Championships?
Yep.
Now these guys, and some guys that are just coming from the OHL and other junior leagues, they're playing in the World Championships.
That's why I'm telling you, Peter, you got to watch these World Championships. These guys are now, the teams are now developing for the Olympics. They're not just taking the veteran guys that know they're going to win. A loss in the World Championships now is not going to be as big of a deal to some of these teams because they want these guys to get some good international gameplay. And if you're interested at all in the draft this year, Matthews is there, Laine is there. Pretty sure there's a couple other guys, but those are the two top guys that they're rebattling from the World Junior Championships, and that was awesome to watch. They're going to be fantastic. They've got some men's hockey under their belt now, both of them. So they're gonna have a good tournament. It's gonna be good.
I haven't been a fan of the World Championships. Like, it's on during the NHL playoffs. This year, I think it's even like almost a week later than usual.
Yeah, I think 5 or 6 days. But the year before, 2014, we looked at 2015. It was like 5 days before. 2014, it was 2 days later.
Wow.
So I think it just depends. Why not watch hockey at 9 a.m.?
I'm sleeping, Paul. I just went to sleep like at 5 a.m.
PVR and watch it at noon when you get up.
All right.
Friday, 9 a.m., Canada versus USA. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
So it was very peculiar. On my trip, I met my new friends, Victor from Finland, and my friend from Germany as well. And they were surprised when I told them that I don't really watch the World Championships. They're like, why?
It's a big deal to them.
I'm watching the NHL playoffs. This is big for us. But you know what? For them, their leagues have ended. This is after, and it's the World Championships, so they love it more. Us in North America, we care more about the Olympics, and then the World Juniors, especially during December.
Yeah.
Right now, it's our time to watch the NHL playoffs. So that's where our
But for
minds are
them, if this guy's waking up at noon like you,
there.
he's not watching NHL hockey live. So.
Yep.
And now with the new world of Twitter and social media, you can't black out and watch a game later without knowing the result. It just doesn't happen. So they're probably in the same boat as us, just opposite sides of the world.
Yep. My friend Victor from Finland, he's thinking all Finns after Matthews.
That's crazy.
He thinks even
Ulevi?
Yeah, Ulevi goes to the Oilers. They needed a defenseman.
That's crazy.
So
they're taking Chychrun.
That's what I was telling him. I thought, no, maybe Chychrun more. But Ulevi's playing well right now as well in juniors, right? So
yeah, he is. He's playing well with the London Knights.
London Knights.
And he compares to kind of like an Oli Mata. Mm-hmm. Not only with their first name.
All right. That's it. That's the end of this episode. We're going to go watch the Pens and Caps now. Paul.
Let's go Penguins.
Before we leave this, what does Murray have to do wrong to have Fleury come back between the pipes? Is it one bad game, two bad games, or three bad games?
They have
what
to
do you
get
think?
3-2 series. They have to get down 3-2. So he's got to have two bad games.
Two bad games.
But it depends on if he gets lit up tonight, like
Fleury
6-1.
can come in and finish the game.
Yeah.
And then what? You think if maybe the Pens come back and then boom, it's Fleury next game?
I hope they don't, but I have a feeling they would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to remember when John Gibson played so well for the Ducks?
Yep.
In the playoffs? I think that's what this is comparing to. But I think Murray might be a better goalie than John Gibson.
Yeah.
But he's
slight edge to Murray.
Well, it's playing a hot goalie versus an expensive goalie.
That's
so it'll be interesting to see what happens if they make the next round. I think they got to go with Murray. I really do.
And then when they have expansion draft maybe following year, and then they gotta
Fleury will go. They'll trade him to somebody and keep Murray.
Yeah.
You got to go with the young talent.
All right, that's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
Bye.